All right. This is the hub where we took some of the questions on Facebook and we're going to answer them the best we can and with what we think is the right answer.
And we'll do this a lot. We'll either post on our social media or if you just have a question that you already know and you don't want to wait for us to post a question and answer, you could email us at thehub.fitcrew@gmail.com. But we want to do this a lot so that we can get more specific questions for what you guys are wanting to know rather than just what we like to talk about, which I think was cool this first round that we did because we got a lot of questions that I would not think we would get.
Yeah.
And
Well, it shows you what people are thinking about or.
Yeah. And then it also forces us to think outside of our own box of what we like to know about, what we like to research, and just to be able to help you guys more, but also help us learn. So it's a win-win. Yeah. Thank you for putting in your questions and allowing us to learn more as well.
Well, and say where we're going to put them to.
The answers?
These videos, yeah.
So if you go to our Facebook page or if you find us in a Facebook group, but it's probably easier to do it directly to our Facebook page. If you comment a question from here on out, we'll post it on our personal Facebook business page as well as our YouTube, and then I will comment back to you with the link of your specific clip of the question. And as we get going, we might add this into our full length episodes, and then I can just timestamp where your question was answered. But as we get started, we're just going to do little mini segments to answer your question or a group of similar questions together.
And we'll probably still put these up on the YouTube page as well.
Yeah.
Just put them in a bunch of different spots. So they're easily accessible anywhere.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do it in like a Q&A playlist or something.
Yeah.
And then eventually I will be posting it on our Instagram.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. First question. And these two questions we'll probably answer together, but kind of two separate avenues. So first question was, what are some easy ways to incorporate more protein into your diet? And then the second one, how do I get enough protein on a vegan diet? So I think we might have an overall theme of the answer, but then also we can break it down for the individual dietary restrictions.
Yeah. Well, with both of them being about protein, this is something that we talked about last night was,
and this is what we were surprised about.
Well, it's just another one of those things that like we put so much focus on these macronutrients of the protein, carbohydrate, and the fats that this always happens where fats are deemed bad, and then 10 years later they come back and they're good. And it happens with all of them, to where right now we're in this huge protein craze where it's like, get protein, get protein, get protein. And any amount of protein is fine, to where I think where these questions come in, it's interesting. You need to ask yourself, what is the reason that you're so focused on the protein? You know, are you trying to build a lot of muscle and you're wanting to do that, or are you just listening to what the consensus is you need to get more protein? Because some of the studies that I read last night were saying from ages 45 to 65, so like middle-aged, people that they did a study on people that had a high protein intake, which was 20% or higher of your daily intake, they had a 75% increase in mortality. So the high protein intake was resulting in 75% increase in mortality, to where the low protein intake, 10% or lower, was, I can't remember the statistic, but they were projected to live longer than the average person. So when you're middle-aged, what this study is saying is high protein intake can result in more issues, and there was a increase in cause of cancer too.
Yeah.
With a high protein intake. But this is what everybody is saying to do is increase protein, increase protein. You need protein, protein, protein. So I think what you need to ask yourself is, why are you so focused on the protein? Why do you want to get more intake of protein? If it's for muscle building reasons, if you have something specific for you that, you know, a doctor is telling you to, it's prescribed, hey, you need to get more protein, or maybe you've been tracking and you're realizing you're grossly low on protein, then sure, you can increase the protein levels, but you need to, like, this is kind of what I'm saying with these other macronutrients is we give this label to, oh, now fats are good, carbs are bad. And right now it's protein. Hey, get all the protein you can. There's always a pro and a con to almost everything. Usually where you want to fall is a balance, is in the middle. And this is kind of one of those examples of protein is just so, it's just like, it's the magic. There's no wrong with it right now.
Yeah. To me, I think carbs and fat, as much as we need to isolate those two individually as well, I think there is an easier line that people can see of, oh, these are the bad carbs, I shouldn't be eating this, or these are the bad fats, I shouldn't be eating this. Not diving into, well, what are the good carbs and fats, and what amount works for my body specifically, to where I think protein is that easier one, that there's less of a fault to it. Like,
yeah, it's just like protein's protein.
Yeah, like you just always want more of it. It's always good. There's not a downfall besides the like old school red meat.
Yeah.
Like, you have heart problems, so don't eat red meat.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's almost that foolproof one where it's like, I really don't need to know about it. I don't need to know how much my body needs or what I'm using it for. What's my intent of eating it? It's just, well, this is an easy thing that I can do to be healthy.
Right. Well, when you go to the grocery store, you look at, you know, the boxes or anything, it's all of them are saying, you know, they have the protein right on the front of the box or right on the front of the label of, you know, 16 grams of protein. And they're really advertising the protein part because that's the information we'd be given, is that's what you want or need. But it's just like anything else. There's good sources of protein and not so good sources of protein. You know, the difference between almonds and protein in almonds or in nuts versus protein in just a protein bar or a whey protein, there's differences. There's big differences.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at the protein and you're asking yourself, or you're saying, I need to up my protein, I think more about it, because these studies are showing, hey, from middle age, if you have a high protein intake, you're increasing mortality. To where, what's your goal here? Are you trying to put on muscle mass? Great. Then up your protein for 3 months, maybe 6 months. But you have to understand that when you're putting this much stress, you're taking in this much protein, you're putting a lot of stress on your body. It's harder to break down protein than it is carbohydrates. So you're putting a lot more stress on your body. And when you're continuously doing that through middle age, throughout, you know, maybe even your whole life, your body's just getting stressed all the time. It's like if you were to wake up and go run 10 miles every single day. Yeah. It's going to be hard, and it's just going to continue to break down your body day after day after day. It's just like the exercises. You need rest. You need to recover. Yeah. So same with your diet, and specifically the protein intake. You need to make sure that you're doing it for reasons of, okay, I want to build muscle. Great. I'm going to increase my protein, but then you need to come away from it a little bit, because there's a big stress on the body. And what's your goals? If you don't want to live past 70, 75, then great.
Pound that meat.
Pound the protein and go crazy with it. But if you want to have longevity, you need to watch the protein that you're consuming and bringing in. But then there's the, you know, contrast side of it, of that same study said that 65 and older, the people that had 20%.
And same thing when the younger half as well.
The younger half as well. And the older half, 20% or higher daily intake of protein. They had a 3-fold increase of longevity, of like life expectancy. And 10% or lower, they were, I don't remember the certain statistic, but they were more likely to die sooner.
Mm-hmm.
So as you get older, it becomes more and more important to have protein. But that's not until like 65. It's not until a lot later in your age when you're elderly.
Yeah.
So there's these kind of spots where throughout your life that you need more protein. It's just like with little kids, you know, get them more nutrients or more, you know, whether it's protein or muscle building, or it used to be milk was the big thing, but like, you know, we want their bones to be strong and them to grow properly and quickly, because they're developing so much that those things are more important. But then you get to a full grown adult, you're your basically body, just maintaining.
Right. And I think that's what we're kind of saying as well, is it's not that protein isn't important. It's very important. Yeah. But it's kind of dissecting and being a little bit more aware of why you're getting it, what's your intent of eating it, what kind of protein are you getting and why, and analyzing what goal am I trying to achieve? Is this type of protein and amount going to serve that goal, or is it going to actually maybe be the part that, or the reason why I'm not reaching that goal? And taking into consideration your age of what am I doing on a day-to-day? What's my lifestyle? What are my hormones doing? What kind of like taking a full spectrum of your life and your day-to-day, and then break it down of, is this needed for me? Am I just kind of doing a regular job where I'm not needing to be super active and I'm doing just enough of a workout to keep my body healthy, but I'm not trying to achieve these crazy goals? Well, now that extra added protein is, like you said, putting more stress for no reason.
Right.
And also, what kind of protein are you getting? I think if you are going to eat, and I feel like protein is such a large word, but it is. I feel like when we think of protein, we think of meat, to where what could kind of eventually bring us into our next question, that thinking of protein as just a nutrient. So thinking of what fruit do I need to be eating to up my protein? What vegetables do I need to be eating to up my protein? So it's not just super meat heavy, because then that's also not giving you a full spectrum of balanced nutrients or balanced protein, rather than just, well, I'm just going to eat this specific kind all the time. Well, now you're limiting yourself to what else that product could give you, to where having something like a whole meat source per se, not getting the lunch meat or the anything that's coming out of a package, or like you said, the protein bar. Because I think with those things, what we forget about is what also is coming with that. It's like, okay, this has 12 grams of protein, but it also has matched of 12 grams of sugar and more carbs in it and more fat in it, which those can also be helpful as well. But when you're not calculating those things in, I feel like people are not achieving whether it's the like looks part of health, or like their physique goals, or what they want to look like, or they're not able to perform to the level that they want to. And then they think, well, the easiest thing is I just need to eat more protein. That's what I always hear. If I want to get bigger, I want to get stronger, I want to be able to run faster or perform better, I just need to have more protein. Well, then you go pound some protein bars or a protein shake, and they're like, well, why am I not losing weight, or why am I not getting this achievement that I want? Well, it's because you also just upped your protein, but you just doubled your sugar, you just doubled your carbs, you just doubled your fat, that maybe your body didn't need those things. Right. That now you're just kind of back to where you were. You're not upping your protein. Now you just have a higher tolerance for everything. Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of the major point, whether it's protein, carbohydrates, or fat. Look at the package that you're getting. What are you getting with all of it? Because if it was just about the numbers, well, I'm just going to drink protein shakes all day long, because they have the best protein numbers out of almost anything. Yeah. As far as how much you can get, you know,
within a single serving.
Yeah, within a single serving or a small amount. But like you said, what else are you all getting with that? You know, you're getting a lot of sugar, you're getting a lot of just processed everything. So yes, it's an easy way to increase your protein, but something else may be better as far as, you know, the package that you're getting.
And I feel like anytime we talk about anything related to diet, I feel like the biggest push for what we want. I feel like for me, I would just speak personally. I feel like when it comes to diet, it's less, for me, what I'm learning, less about I need to increase this, I need to take this out. I mean, you can get really granular on it of this specific vegetable does not work with my body and this does. Or if I eat a little bit more carbs, I feel more energy. Or if I eat a little bit more meat, I have more energy. But I think to the basic rule or simplest way that you can go about this with changing your diet or just looking into it is, do I have the balance? Bringing it back to a balance of, am I getting the same amount of vegetables as I am fruit, as I am protein, whatever way you're getting that, water, like how am I whole spectrum? What am I bringing into my body? Because at the end of the day, your body just wants to be healthy and well balanced. That's where you're going to see the results, whether it's I want to get stronger, I want to get bigger, or I want to lose weight, I want to be able to perform better. Is your body is working with you. You are a team with your body. If you feed it trash, it's going to produce trash.
Yeah.
To where if you're feeding it and giving it the amount of sleep and hydrating that it needs, it will be healthier, so then it's going to perform better for you.
Right. And I think that's where like this protein craze is it's just the increase your protein and all your problems will be fixed. And I don't think that's the case. I think for some people, yeah. And I think that's where like, tracking what you're eating would help. But that also can cause a problem of we're so obsessed with numbers that it's not so much about just the numbers. Okay, you're getting 20 grams of protein, but that could be a wide range of what kind of protein, what quality of protein you're getting. Just like carbohydrate, I could get, I could eat something that's like 25 grams of carbohydrates and then something else that's only 5, yet one of them's an apple and one of them is a granola bar. And it's like the granola bar may not be horrible, but I think most people would say, the apple is probably going to be healthier. It's not processed or not as processed. Yeah. And the granola bar could be a whole bunch of fake stuff, but they just were able to modify it to get your carbohydrates low and the protein high and this and that. So I think this obsession with numbers is somewhat of an issue. That what's the package? What kind of package are you getting? Yeah. So don't focus on so much of the increase of protein unless you know you need it. You've tracked it and you know you need to do more. But focus on what's the food that I'm eating. Yes. Is it a bunch of numbers that I'm eating and trying to achieve? Yes. Or is it quality? Is it quality? Is it a healthy thing?
So I think for the person asking this question, just that you don't feel we're like, your question's wrong, you shouldn't be asking that. If you feel like you are not getting enough protein in your diet, I would say look at the full spectrum of protein. You can get it from meat sources. You can get it from beans and nuts. You can get it from seeds. You can look into certain vegetables and fruits if you do well with those. What are more high protein levels?
Dairy,
what are more protein? Yeah, dairy.
You're able to do dairy.
But then also think of why do you feel like you need more protein? Yeah. So answering that question for yourself of, is it just I feel like I don't feel healthy, I am tired all the time, I am not able to work out as easily, or whatever your reasons are, ask yourself that question first before you even dive into looking up more protein. Because if you can figure out the problem that you're trying to solve, maybe protein's not even the answer. Maybe it's you need to drink more water. Maybe it's you need to up your sleep. Maybe it's you need to take out this nutrient because it's causing you to have bloat or whatever. Yeah. Or even how you're cooking your food could be an issue. So I would say first ask the question of, why do you feel like you need more protein? You could be right. And then if you are, how can you add variety of protein? I feel like a lot of people also do that of, well, I like chicken, so I'm just going to eat chicken every day of my life. Yeah. Well, you're going to get super bored of that. You're not going to stay consistent with that. Yeah. And then you're going to fall off the wagon and you're not going to have as much protein as you want anymore. So thinking of how many sources of protein can you get? How many ways can you add that into your diet? And the quality. I think having more quality of protein rather than just I need to eat more of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think, one of them was more specific to a vegan diet, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a good vegan diet kind of has it right as far as living a long time.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
typically lower on protein, and that's kind of the whole worry about vegan diets is there's not enough protein. You can't get enough protein. Well, what's your goal with it? Are you trying to become world's strongest man, world's strongest woman? Maybe it's not going to be the best to be on a vegan diet because it's so hard to get protein. But if
It's
you're
so hard to get just calories, I feel like. Also.
But if your goal is to live a long time, like
Yeah.
a good vegan diet, not going to the grocery store and getting all these, these processed granola bars and
Mm-hmm.
these fake meats that are just filled with oil and cornstarch and just bad stuff, but a good one of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, all the things
Mm-hmm.
that you named. Longevity wise, they've got a really good solution to that. So
Yeah, that's true.
if that's your goal, then that may be an option. And it's not to say that you can't have meat and live a long time still. Like you can not be a vegan and still eat meat, but you may not be needing as much protein as you think you do
Sure.
because it's just we've had this craze go
It's
on
the
for a
hype
long
about it.
Yeah,
It's the hype.
there's a big hype about it. So I think you're right though. Ask yourself why do you need it? Dissect that. And I also would add in there like maybe track for a little while. Maybe because
Mm-hmm.
of this hype and this craze, you have been focusing on it and increasing your protein, and you're at a sustainable point with it right now.
Yeah.
And you're just asking to put more in when you don't really need it.
Because a lot of people, at least here in the U.S., at least that's how I know we eat, is I do feel like we are probably under our individual. I know I struggle to eat protein or like the amount that I could probably use, but I think just comes back to we're just eating the wrong sources of it or the not as efficient and effective sources of it. So
Yeah.
you might be under, but then again, don't just add trash
Yeah.
back in.
Yeah. But I think to maybe answer some of them more specifically, the vegan one,
Mm-hmm.
ways to add in, I would say all the things that you said, like the nuts, the seeds, like
Mm-hmm.
legumes, maybe beans. Those are good ways. You can, if you truly need more protein, I think you can supplement with a protein shake of some sort or
Sure.
whatever option you can get that way. Healthier, the
And
better,
there's vegan
obviously.
protein mixes as well.
Right. But I would go to say that
Which
you're probably not, if you're following a vegan diet, you may be not that worried about, becoming world's strongest man, world's strongest
Sure.
woman. Like, so maybe look at your protein intake already because you may not need it.
And again, diversifying how you're getting your protein. So not just thinking, well, this is the one thing I know. To me, I feel like that would be the hardest thing being on a vegan diet is just getting the wide spectrum of nutrients. But that's just off of my lack of knowledge of other foods that I can eat. So like I wrote a list, but like lentils, edamame, which my dad is obsessed with as of recent. And also looking into those specifics of foods because those could also give you things that maybe it's not the protein. Like if you isolate the protein, maybe that's not the thing the compound that you're missing out on, but it's maybe what in that protein are you missing out on? Like the edamame is rich in folate, vitamin K, or vitamin K. What's vitamin K?
There's a vitamin K.
Okay. And fiber, and then like things like chickpeas and seeds and spirulina. I want us to try this. It's like that blue algae,
Oh,
and it's like a superfood. It's awesome.
okay.
Which has like super high amounts of magnesium, riboflavin, potassium. Yeah, and then like other things like seeds, like just going outside of the box. I feel like we typically have like when we think of protein, we think of a specific amount of foods. So even if it's we eat meat or you don't eat meat, think of these are the 5 products that I would think of. Now come up with 5 different ones and then try them and bring them into different recipes that you're doing just so that you can kind of start to experiment, and then your palate and your options will just naturally expand as you're kind of pushing your own staples per se. But with a vegan diet, I think also it's important to recognize what you might be missing with not eating meat. And then that's where supplementation can come in of certain, like creatine you can't get in plants. So then maybe bringing that in just in a powder form, because those are things that are, I wouldn't say essential to your body, but definitely higher on the scale of what we need. But there's ways to get that without eating meat.
And that would be the last and final option, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Is to supplement.
Yeah. Look to see if you can get it in other foods.
Right. Because you don't want to be half your diet is supplements. That's just not going to work. It's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be good for you. It's
because there are only a few nutrients that you can't get in plants.
Yeah.
Very few. Where most other ones, just things that you don't typically think to eat or search out for it. Yeah. I mean, like that. Like I didn't even know there was a vitamin K.
Yeah.
But and I think with vegan diets, also staying away or just having an intent of why are you eating this, of the more like fake meat options.
Yeah, they're not good.
Understand
typically
why you're eating it. If you're eating it for like, maybe I haven't always been a vegan and I just miss that flavor or the texture or whatever. If you're going to eat it, understand why you're eating it, understand the intent. Same way we know sugar is bad, yet you've been eating Starburst for the past 2 days. So you're doing you're doing it for fun. You're doing it because it's been Halloween. That understand that it's not the same. It's
I don't even like Starburst.
It's not the. But are you eating it?
Yeah.
How many pieces have you eaten in the past?
Yeah.
30. But understand why you're eating it. That it's just for a fun.
Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't
that it's
really
not actually giving you the nutrients that you need. Don't see it as like, well, this is the same. It's not.
I didn't think about that, and I've never had it, so I don't really know how it tastes. Maybe it does taste somewhat like meat, and you are missing that, but those are typically not good. I mean, general rule of thumb is stay as far away from processed foods as you can.
Yep.
And that is something that's ultra processed, and
that's another.
It's just not.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. If you miss the taste, if you're wanting something like that, or you're going to a cookout and you want to have an option there to eat something like that, I get that. But I think know 100%
the intent of
right.
why you're eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would just say do kind of your own research of your palate, what you like, but then also kind of go outside of the box of what can you find in your area as well that could expand your palate and your recipe book.
Yeah.
Figure out new ways to bring in new flavors and new nutrients. And I feel like just naturally that will start to give you a larger list of what you can work with.
Yeah.
And even if you're not on a vegan diet, I still suggest doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Figuring out different ways to bring in protein, because I feel like meat is the easy answer to that. But just like you said, there's times where you need to lower that and take that down because our bodies don't absorb it as easily. It's a super expensive nutrient. Yeah. That there's also really easy ways to bring it in that can also be fun and mixing up your recipes. Yeah. Like we just got sunflower seeds and we've been adding it into different things. We've never bought that. No. But it's just a fun throw in there, or nuts, roasting nuts and then putting them in your salad. Yep. Just figuring out different ways to diversify what you're eating on a daily basis. Yeah.
What was the other specific question to it? Just because I want to make sure we answer them both, a little more.
Just what were easy ways to incorporate more protein, and then how do you get enough protein on a vegan diet? Okay. So I feel like we did. Yeah. So I do have to wrap up because I need to go teach children how to dance. Yeah. Again, if you want to ask us any question, no matter how silly or small or big it is, you can ask us at our Facebook page, which is just The Hub, or email us at thehub.fitcrew@gmail.com, all lowercase.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.